Welcome to history class. Today we have to start the history of standard 7, that is chapter 9, the making of regional cultures, that is the part 2 of that lesson. First part we have to discuss about the classical dances and the traditions of Rajputs and the development of Malayalam. That's then now starts the growth of regional language in Bengal. Growth of regional language in Bengal. Here we saw that we often learn to identify the regions, the terms of language spoken by the people. But now the people in Bengal always spoke Bengali. You know that their language is Bengali. Then and Bengali is now recognized as a language derived from Sanskrit. That is, Bengali language also derived from Sanskrit. Early Sanskrit text suggests that people of Bengal did not speak a Sanskritic language. How then a new language emerged? That text says that the early people of Bengal did not speak a Sanskritic language, but the early main language is Bengali. From the 4th to 3rd century BC, the commercials began to develop between Bengal and Magadha. That is now south of Bihar, Magadha, which may lead to the growing influence in Sanskrit. During the 4th century, the Gupta rulers established political control over the North Bengal and began to settle Brahmanas in these areas. But then the 4th century, 4th and 3rd centuries, that is a commercial development between Bengal and Magadha. As a result, there was a growing influence in the Sanskrit language, and in the 4th century, Gupta period started. Then at that time, Brahmanas also settled near these areas. Thus, a linguistic cultural influence between mid-Ganga Valley became stronger. But London culture, linguistic, cultures തമ്മിലുള്ള ഇൻഫ്ലുവൻസ് കൊണ്ട് ഒരു ലാംഗ്വേജ് എമർജ് ചെയ്യാനായിട്ട് തുടങ്ങി. ആൻഡ് ദിസ് ഫ്രം ദി 8th century, Bengal became the center of regional kingdom under the Palas. Then 8th centuries, Bengal Palas became dominant in Bengal. Between the 4th and 16th century, Bengal was ruled by sultans. And in 1586, Akbar conquered Bengal. It formed the nucleus of a Bengal Sabha, while Persian was their language of administration. The new language also developed, that is, the sultans ruled in Bengal at that time. Then Akbar conquered Bengal. Their main language was Persian. And Bengali is developed as a regional language. The main language is Persian, that Bengali was as a regional language. The early Bengali literature may be divided into two categories, but is one indebted to Sanskrit, other independent. That is, Bengali language also divided into two. One is dependent on Sanskrit, other is a non-Sanskritic. The first include the translation of epics like Mangala Kavyas of Tamil. Then second, that is the fairy tales, folk tales and ballads. അതായത് നാടോടി കഥകളൊക്കെയാണ് സെക്കൻഡ്. ഫസ്റ്റ് ഹെൽപ്ഡ് ഓൺ സാൻസ്ക്രിറ്റിക് എപ്പിക്സ് ലൈക്ക് മംഗളകാവ്യാസും പോയംസ് എല്ലാം ആയിരുന്നു ഫസ്റ്റ് ബംഗാളി ലിറ്ററേച്ചറിൻ്റെ ഫസ്റ്റ് പാർട്ട്. ദെൻ പേഴ്സ് ആൻഡ് ടെമ്പിൾസ്. വാട്ട് ഇസ് എ പേർഷ്യൻ വേർഡ് ദാറ്റ് ഈസ് ദ മീനിങ് സ്പിരിച്വൽ ഗൈഡ്. അതായത് എ ടീച്ചർ, ലൈക്ക് എ ടീച്ചർ, എ സ്പിരിച്വൽ ഗൈഡ്, ദാറ്റ് ഈസ് എ പേഴ്സ്. From the 16th century, people began to migrate a large numbers from the Bengal forested and marshy areas on southeastern Bengal. Then a large number of people migrated to Bengal in the 16th century. As a result, they cleared the forest and brought the land under rice cultivation. അത് ഒരുപാട് ആൾക്കാർ കുടിയേറി, അതുകൊണ്ട് തന്നെ കാടുകളെല്ലാം വെട്ടിത്തെളിച്ച് കൾട്ടിവേഷന് വേണ്ടി, റൈസ് കൾട്ടിവേഷന് വേണ്ടി വിനിയോഗിച്ചു. ദ ലോക്കൽ കമ്മ്യൂണിറ്റീസ് ഓഫ് എ ഫിഷർ ഫോക്ക് ഷിഫ്റ്റിംഗ് ആസ് എ കൾട്ടിവേറ്റേഴ്സ്. അപ്പോൾ ലോക്കൽ കമ്മ്യൂണിറ്റി എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ ഫിഷിംഗ് മാൻ ആയിരുന്നു. അവർ എന്തിലായിട്ട് ഷിഫ്റ്റ് ചെയ്തു? കൾട്ടിവേറ്റേഴ്സ് ആയിട്ട്. ഓഫൺ ട്രൈബ്സ് ലൈക്ക് they became a peasants. The early settlers functioned as teachers and were sometimes ascribed with a supernatural powers. Then ആദ്യം സെറ്റിൽ ചെയ്തേഴ്സ് എന്താണ്? They functioned as a teachers. Their main job are teachers. They have a supernatural powers also. These teachers have this. So they affectionately, as a respect, they were called as a per. That is a spiritual guide. This term included the saints and religious personalities and Buddhist deities and even animistic spirit also. Animism here means that is attribution of a living soul to plants, objects or natural phenomena. That is animism. Here Bengal also witnessed a temple buildings from the late 15th century which culminated in the 19th century. Then Bengal also witnesses a temple building spree from the 15th century. That is many of the modest brick and terracotta temples in Bengal were built with the support of low social groups such as a Kolu or a Kansari. Kansari here means metal workers, Kolon oil pressers. Some workers began to construct many buildings or many temples with modest bricks at this time. And here is a picture about the architecture style. That is first one, that is a double roofed thatched hut. Their construction style, double roofed thatched hut. Here also another picture, that is a four roofed temple with a tower. Here that is a different style originated during this time in Bengal. Then what about their food? Their main food is fish, because many of them were fishing. Their main occupation is fishing. Traditional food habits are generally based on locality and available of food items. അല്ലേ, ഓരോ ട്രഡീഷണൽ ഫുഡ് ഐറ്റംസ് എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ നമ്മുടെ they are based on locally they are available. അല്ലേ, and so fishing was always been an important occupation of Bengali literature. Contains several references to the fish. In Bengali literature also there are references to this fish. Their main food. Brahmanas were not allowed to eat non-vegetarian food. And early time also they were not allowed to eat non-vegetarian food. But the popularity of fish in the local diets made Brahmanical authority to relax their prohibition for the Bengal Brahmanas. And as a result, the Brihadharma Purana and the 13th century, the Sanskrit from Bengal permitted the local Brahmanas to eat certain varieties of dish. But traditionally Brahmanas were not allowed to eat fish. But based on this Puranic, the 13th century Sanskrit, they were allowed to Brahmanas to eat varieties of this fish. Here is a picture of a fish being dressed for domestic consumptions as terracottas plucked from the temple. Because from this picture we know that is the importance of the fish in Bengal. Okay, that's about today's class. Okay, thank you.